Have you ever been in a relationship where it felt like your significant other was falling for you way too quickly? Did they profess their undying love for you? Did they tell you how soon they wanted to have kids with you? But then all of a sudden, all that love and affection just disappeared and it was replaced with anger? Chances are you've been love bombed. Stay tuned to the end of this episode and I'll share signs of love bombers and how to deal with them. Welcome to the Own Your Ship podcast, a program designed to share practical ways you can own your mess in your relationship today. I'm your host, Mel Walker. Let's dive in. So what is love bombing? In the 1970s, members of a church in the United States created the concept, and in 1996, a psychologist by the name of Margaret Singer wrote about it in her book called Cults in Our Midst. The essence of what love bombing was whenever someone would show interest in their church, they would be showered with love, affection, attention, things that would usually make people feel appreciated. It was a strategy that was implemented by the head of the church, and it was practiced to lure people in. Mel, you're talking about church. What does this have to do with relationships? As it applies to romantic relationships, love bombing is manipulation through excessive signs of affection. They are grooming the individual to be emotionally attached to them. So for example, buying expensive gifts, planning extravagant vacations, and they want to know your deepest, darkest secret from the beginning of the relationship. And soon after they're in love, they believe in the concept of love at first sight, and they let you know how much you changed their life and that they've never felt this way about any relationship before. They like everything that you like, they hate everything that you hate, or they exaggerate their feelings about everything that you've shown some kind of interest in. They usually profess their relationship with you to the entire world without you both confirming that you're even official. They do that to seek validation from the people around them. They demand commitment very quickly, like they want to marry you, they want to have kids with you. But Mel, isn't that what we all want from relationships? Before we answer that question, if you're enjoying this content, take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram at MelissaTWalker_. I want to shout you out. Let's dive back in. To tell you the truth, Disney messed us up. They have us believing in love at first sight, happily ever afters, and Prince Charmings, all while displaying the toxic behaviors that we must endure in order to be happy. For example, Aladdin basically catfishes Jasmine. Cinderella was solely reliant on her prince to get away from her cruel stepmother. In Red Shoes and Seven Dwarfs, a 2019 adaptation of Snow White, she wasn't kissed to save her life. She was kissed because Merlin knew he would break a curse and he would be transformed into something amazing. Selfish, right? In the original Snow White, the prince hears about how Snow White was sleeping in a glass coffin and he feels obliged to kiss her while she sleeps without her consent. Others criticize body image and they encourage women to forgive men who've hurt them emotionally and physically. And I know I'm sounding extremely severe, but Disney movies have been a staple in many of our homes since we were the age of 5. All of this sounds somewhat normal because it has been in our lives for a majority of our lives, and we walk into relationships expecting these things that we see in the movie. Love bombing is an abusive tactic used by bombers to get their way. And we all want to be in relationships where we're loved, where we're taken care of, where we're supported. But in this situation, this person wants to know all about you. This person is showing these great deals of affection because they want to know what tools they can use to manipulate you the best. All these nice things are not going to last. They wait for you to get attached. And then slowly, one by one, this person will start to pull back with the gifts, with the signs of affection. The I love yous may turn into I hate you or I can't stand you. And you may start fighting to hold on to the idea of what you were experiencing in the beginning of your relationship. Individuals who love bomb may have abandonment issues. They like the idea of having someone around who won't leave. So they're going to do whatever it takes to keep you around for as long as they need you. They have low self-esteem. They always need consistent reassurance. And even when they get it, it's not enough. They care more about what others think about them, and they'll do whatever it takes to control that narrative. So in case you didn't realize, most love bombers are usually narcissists. So How do you know if you have been love bombed? Are the words that they're saying or the attention that they're giving where you're actually at in your relationship right now? Are their gestures extremely grandiose? Do they tell you how badly their life would be without you, without even knowing much about you? Is their behavior negative when you suggest that they try to slow things down? Do they want you guys to move in together right away? Do they want you to share a phone line almost immediately? Do they threaten to hurt themselves if you were to ever leave them? If you have answered any of these questions with a yes, it's possible you're being love bombed. Bombers enjoy the feeling of being loved and wanted, and when they don't get it, it changes their mannerisms. This could be potentially dangerous. So how do you handle being love bombed? Before we jump into that, if you've made it this far, that means you must be enjoying this content. Come on, go ahead, slap that subscription button. Now let's jump back in. You may find yourself fighting to stay in the relationship. You may find yourself doing whatever you can to try to change him. But the reality is you are being emotionally abused. You're being taken advantage of, and in many cases, individuals don't realize this immediately. The best way to handle being love bombed is to get out. This is where it usually gets difficult. Statistics show that it takes women 7 tries before they actually leave an abusive relationship. This is the part that most people struggle with. Whenever they try to leave, the love bombing starts again. This makes you question yourself. Maybe you're overreacting. Maybe they were having a rough time. They must be going through something really difficult right now. Stop right there. Stop it. That's a trap. The best way to get out is to get out. So how do you get out? Truth bomb them to death. When a love bomber realizes they can't control you anymore, they will seek validation somewhere else. The point is to control your emotions. They get a kick out of that. If they can't do that anymore, you serve no purpose to them. What does truth bombing them mean? Provide them with undeniable facts. For example, when they become apologetic for withdrawing love, they will say things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what got into me. It never will happen again." That's called future faking, by the way. Making a promise that you won't do something again, even though you have a history of doing stuff like that. Your response should be, "I've heard you say that before," or "I'll believe it when I see it." But watch your tone. Don't be snarky. Don't be disrespectful, because that's like adding fuel to the fire. Instead, be stern. Don't smile and maintain eye contact. Love bombers will deflect. They will use kind gestures and even sex to try to keep you under that spell. But don't let that distract you from what's happening. Stay focused. Now that you know what love bombing is, start making changes in your relationship today. If you think you may need to see a therapist to work through this, I've provided a link in the description where you'll get 20% off your first month of therapy. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Talk soon.